Let's go, my homies. Welcome to the Mile High Hotspur. My name is Leo Coys, and I am joined by my homie, KTK. I call him Crash. How are we doing, my homie?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. It is a lovely Monday to be in Colorado. It's a nice day today, as well as seeing the Pids get the big 3 points on Saturday. So can't complain.
Massive, massive 3 points, my homies. That is obviously what this edition of our show is going to be all about the game. But before we get in there, you know what I mean? I just want to big up anybody who will tune in live or watch this back on replay. Honestly, it's something that we're trying to do, at least here I'm trying to do to get as many Rapids fans that want to come and chat Pids with us. And I know, of course, I have to be more consistent with it, Crash, but um, at least it's hard to do content, bro, when the Rapids are just not producing it. You know what I mean? Like when we have a victory like we did on the weekend, bro, it's a lot better to come in here and big up our team as opposed to. Let's just go back a couple of weeks when we played against KC, and it was a game where we should have easily one, we could have been talking about a very good game, but then it was a salty result, bro. We ended up losing to them, so it does help when the Pitties put on massive performance like they did. But before we go into the game, Crash, I just want to say, bro, like even leading up to going to Dick's, like I got like my routine that I do here, kick it with the family. Then when I hit the shower, my homie, I start whistling, I start chatting, I start banging on the wall, just like let's go, baby. You know what I mean? And this past weekend, Crash, was the first time in a lot of weekends, bro, that I kind of felt that already, like just off the rip. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I was sitting on the couch, bro, and I remember I'm like, yeah, bro, like, do I have a fucking good feeling about this day today, or do I have a good feeling about today? So I just want to say, bro, like, just off of the rip, that day just started off pretty well, my homie. Um, before the game, what were your vibes leading up to the game, Crash?
So really for me, it was leading up to it. I had low expectations, and I didn't quite know where we were going to be, what to expect. And I knew we've had a challenging run of form before that. And I had talked to some other guys in our group chat and different things about it, but it was more of a mentality issue. And so I think Box State Footy had put a comment out on Twitter, and I responded to it and was, "Can they win? Yes. Will they win? No, I don't think so." Right? And I thought it was a mentality issue, and I was concerned that they weren't going to show up. So I kind of went to it. I'm like, I just want them to have fun. I want them to get back to the game. Really remember what they are playing for. And so I went to it like just hoping to see a good show, and boy, did they put on it. And it was exactly what I was hoping. They didn't, they weren't playing scared. They weren't playing fearful. They were just out there having a blast. And so for me, going into the game, I was a little hopeful, but a little expecting a loss. And boy, did they prove us wrong.
Big up to the homie Kez. How you doing? Hope you're doing good, my homie. Yeah, look, bro, I was vibing. I was vibing. Even like going up to the tailgate, everything just felt good. You touched something. You said something that was, I guess, honestly, I mean, like it's not like I had it brought up, but I just typed it in right now. Mentality for the pitties. That's something that we have kind of been struggling with, fighting with. I guess we're trying to find that balance. And it's even showing Crash in the way that Armis is handling the locker room. And I say that with the captaincy. You know what I mean? Keegan was
Mm-hmm.
back, but he didn't get the armband. We seen Maxsø retain it for the second week. But then again, on the flip side, you see Djordje, don't want to say lose it, or maybe he passed it on, or maybe, but that's just it, bro. Like the mentality, something switched off because obviously something has not been there, Crash. and that's blatant. Like, and the mentality part could very well be it, bro. Like, just being probably a bit more focused in like the well, let me just rewind a bit, my homie. How many games did we go into halftime? We thought we were gonna go into halftime with that lead, right? And then we end up
Mhm.
conceding and either going in level or down. That's a mentality issue that
Mhm.
we've been dealing with all season,
Yeah.
Crash.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think, with it, you mentioned Djordje, not having the armband, Keegan not having it. If I remember though, when he came on in LAFC, when we lost Travis, I think he got the armband back. So I still think you're getting Keegan. He's the club captain. He's going to get it when he comes out. But you notice that Djordje didn't have it. I think that was the biggest statement that had
Yeah,
been the switch since. And I don't disagree with it. I don't think it's because they took it from him. I feel like Djordje was like, I don't, it shouldn't be me. And I think that is a leadership, a good strong sign of somebody who says, you know what, I'm not the person that we need to change, and there needs to come from somewhere else. And I think that allows Djordje to play his best game, and he's not focused on the team and trying to get everybody organized. He's able to focus on what he does best, and that's get 3 assists in a game. And I think that's the key. And I think somebody like Maxsø, who's seasoned in that captaincy and has that leadership ability. I think Zach, another person, he's back. That adds him. So I think a lot of it. The mentality was probably a little bit of that leadership, and they're not knocking Djordje at all. I think he did the best he could, and I'm sure he'll grow into a much stronger leader as he gets a little older. I mean, he's only 26, so he's in that middle kind of prime of his career, and he'll start learning that. But I think right now he just wants to play his best football, and we sure saw it on Saturday. That's for dang sure.
yeah, no, I agree, bro. And kind of something that I want to believe is Georgie himself being that leader kind of probably said, like I'm probably not up for this right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because he said that
Yeah.
like he's not the leader type, but it takes a leader to be able to say, you know what, my homies, maybe like this
Sure.
this isn't for me, right? And that's a
Yeah.
ballsy
Oh
move
yeah.
as well. Um, my homies, I just want to say big up to the people that are here. If you wouldn't mind just smashing the like button for me, it's much appreciated. And also, there's a poll in the chat if you do want to participate. Basically, I just asked right now who would be the best captain for us, or who is obviously the best captain, and it's not like necessarily one is better than the other, of course, my homies, but yeah, just think one thing that Armis said about Georgie is his pre-game talks are like phenomenal. You know what I mean? So maybe he's got like
Mhm.
that. And he shows it on the pitch too, Crash, like his heart. Like he's definitely um big up. How you doing, my homie? You did make it. Thank you for stopping by, my homie. Um so I lost track there, but yeah, I mean, Georgie definitely is captain material. I'm glad he passed it along.
Mhm.
No captain is right or wrong. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of having a mixed batch or like a leadership group, if
Mhm.
you will. You know what I mean? Because throughout the
Yeah.
season, there is just going to be these times where like, hey, Keegan's can't be out there, or injuries to this person, or whatever the case may be. Um,
Mhm.
Mentality is a strong one for us, my homie, and I think would we benefit from bringing in maybe a more experienced player? I mean, I kind of thought with Reggie Cannon somewhat, Cheeto a bit, but would you think maybe we kind of need probably like a older head, a more experienced type player?
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I think we hear it a lot, that this is a young team, and it's tough to have somebody that's young really step in that leadership role that doesn't you know have all that experience, and when it's hard, and how to dig deep, and some of those those elements, like really to motivate a team to kind of get through that. And I think somebody like Keegan, I think, is a good option. I think Maxu Zach, those little bit older players, it would be nice to have kind of that seasoned voice that says, you know what, I've been through everything. I know there's nothing new is going to come my way and how to get through it. I think that could be helpful. So we'll see what happens. But I do think, that's one of the pieces that we're missing is maybe it's that even if it's that second half sub, that super sub kind of that's getting 30
Yeah.
minutes, like a Kai Kamara, that's older, but that has been everywhere and has played everywhere and knows what it takes to get that. I think it would be nice to have that on the team. Do we need it? I don't think so necessarily, but I wouldn't, voice against it for sure. I think, the team's got to find its own identity, whether they're young or old or otherwise. And that's, I think, the biggest key there is seeing those guys step up. And I think, Zach back, Maxsø taking charge. I think we're in a good spot with those guys. They know what it's like and what it takes to get to the next level.
Yeah. There you go, my homie Edward Y of Oz. Big yourself up, my homie. I appreciate the support. A Tottenham fan sees me streaming sometimes and comes in and comments. Big yourself up. We did smack Vancouver and we did put the Terraform back at the big dick. Let's go, my homies. It was let's start getting a bit into the game, shall we? Let's start getting a bit into the
Yeah.
game. Um, Let me see here. Let me get rid of the banner there. Crash, I was telling you earlier, man, I had some talking points that I wanted to go through right here, bro. Let me kind of bring them up here. And
Yeah.
let's start off with the recap real quick, my homies. I'm just gonna say the Rapids smacked that ass. We put the Tariff on at the big dick, like the homie said. 3-0 win at home. Dominant performance, both offensively and defensively. And when I say defensively, I mean the whole back line and the one between the sticks. Man, Zach Steffen, what a way to come back into the lineup. I would have thought maybe Nico has earned at least to keep the momentum going and see if Zach Steffen might need not baby steps, but maybe a bit more time to kind of get 100% fit. But I guess he's ready to go. They put him in there and I mean, bro, 2 saves for him. Could have been goals easily for Vancouver on 2 of their shots, but bossed it in the back line there. So like I said, another clean sheet. The defense was looking sharp and organized. And what about a momentum builder? Crash, this is a confidence boosting win, especially after the recent form that we've had, my homie. Any thoughts on what I just said or anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I'll go back to Zach. I think you look at who Zach is, what he represents. He's really the leading, USMNT goalkeeper. I think his injury is the only reason why he didn't start, in this last window. So it's unfortunate for him to miss out with that injury because of that. But I think the benefit of it is that we did see that we had Nico there and is available. If something came up, because if Zach's back in with the national team, we know we're going to need a backup when he's gone. So I'd expect that, but I think Zach, his ability, his experience, all of that, even his salary, right? You're not gonna not start him if he's available.
Yeah.
I think no matter what happens, I think, Nico, he deserves a pay raise for sure. I mean, for what his ability was, he's at league minimum. And so I'm sure, that, whether it's with us or somebody else, I could see him, moving on to something, bigger and better for him, showing that he has that ability. But there was no doubt in my mind, Zach's ready to go. He's going to be out there. And it just shows you, he was able to come back. And luckily, there was no change in form with him and the back line when it came to Saturday night, and they got the clean sheet. So you've got to put that statement piece on it for him. A good way to come back, which I think is awesome. A good way to show the national team, that he's ready to go. So I thought that was good. But the other side of that too, it was definitely a mentality, like a statement, win. we came out of the LAFC game
Mm,
really. That was a tough one. I mean, I think that was
mhm.
a tough one for the team. They went into it when I think they had a good opportunity to really show LAFC that we're here to play, and then of course it gets we get go down to 10 men after the first 6 minutes. That has to be a big hurdle and a big frustration. You're not getting over that mentally that quick. And I'm glad to see that they did, and they came back and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to put it to LAFC. We're putting it to Vancouver at home, and we're going to show everybody we're here to play." So I think that
Absolutely.
quick shift and that quick mind shift from what that game was and frustrations out of it to say, "Hey, you know what? We can actually play." I know we can look at Vancouver and they're getting their guys back together. They're probably tired as well, but you know what? They're not in the best run of form, but that's neither were we. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
two teams that aren't in good runs of form, and we're the victors by 3-0. I'll take that any day of the week. That's a good turnaround game for me.
Big up. I just want to say big up to Brian Dago. Hope you are well, my homie. Another one of the homies, the Tottenham homies that wanted to come and say what's up. And we have the homie Greg. What is going on, my homie? Crash, you met the homie just the other day. Something that you brought up is something that Greg and I honestly spend a bit of time chatting about when we're sitting there, I guess, standing in the South Bank. Bro, you actually made a good point. Nico Hansen he's we're getting to the point where it's obviously going to be maybe some sort of not a problem, but you said so, bro. Like, and the homie Greg says all the time, like, can we have two keepers like this on this roster? And I'm not even trying to even say that Beaudry's not good enough to be there, because Beaudry can easily slide in there too as a backup as well. But what an excellent issue, problem, whatever you want to call it, to
Mhm.
have right now with the Rapids, to know that, like, at least at that goalkeeper position, whichever two of the players you want to throw in there, you kind of feel confident that they're gonna, because Nico hasn't had a bad performance, bro. I could probably think of maybe two, the maximum amount of goals that like were on him that he probably could
Yeah.
have done a lot better. Goals have been unlucky deflections off of Josh Atencio. You know what I mean? Like, just these rebounds that land to the opponent, like
Mhm.
inside of the 6 yard box. Bro, you're not going to stop a howler from inside the 6 yard box. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are.
Right.
So a lot of his positional play, a lot of his distribution as well is up there that could be
Mhm.
starting. So yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. And the thing that is tough for a player like Nico is you have a player like Stefan right above you. You know what I mean? So no matter how much you step your game up, you're going to have to step your game up immensely to leapfrog a player like Zach Stefan. Because you touched on it
Yeah.
yourself, my homie. This is a player who can easily be, if he's not already, that number one for Pochettino.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's the challenge, is like I don't think there was any question of that. I mean, I know that, unless something weird comes up and Zach hits some weird unfortunate form, which I would doubt that would happen. I think, Nico knew his role. He knew he was third in line.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely jumped to second in line. So he's that first backup for sure, just due to his form. And I agree. Like he made his biggest mistake was that goal against Sporting Kansas City,
Mm,
and that was a combination of bad passing between Cheeto and him. That wasn't the best back pass to him, and it was quick, and then he had to get one out quick, and they got burned on it. Other
mhm.
than that, he didn't have really that many mistakes that you can just point to him on, which I think is
Right.
is great. And so
Absolutely.
having that availability, I think is awesome. But I think if I'm Nico, you're going to be looking for another opportunity that where you're going to get some solid minutes.
Yeah.
You proved yourself. You can play at
Yeah.
this level and do well. So I would imagine any team that's out there is going to be looking for an opportunity, or you're going to see maybe it's unless it's Zach who's saying, you know what, I've got a bigger opportunity now that I'm back in form for maybe going back to Europe or something like that. So it
Yeah.
depends on really what's happening, and I don't know who's going where or what's happening, but having that backup quality, I think is a solid thing for us to have, which, you can't say we have that same level of quality all across the pitch. So I think, kind of like where we got surprised by Bombito last year, I don't think it's in the same category. But
Right.
the idea is like, oh, we had a surprise. We didn't expect this person to be as good as they were. We knew they were quality and to a degree, but they stepped up and showed they can play. So good problem to have for sure.
I agree, bro. I agree, homie. Chat, what do you guys think in the chat? Let us know for sure. I think it's an excellent problem to have. Crash, can I ask you and put you on the spot? If you were in charge of this team and you had to say, all right, am I focusing on what we have with Stefan, or would you focus on what you could have in the future with Nico? Because let me add a little bit more context, my homie. Because Nico has the ceiling with Nico is probably right now a lot higher than what possibly Stefan can bring. And I say that because Stefan obviously could go back to Europe, don't get me wrong, but the
Mhm.
sky is more the limit for a younger Nico Hansen than it is an
Yeah,
older Zach Stefan.
yeah, yeah. I think the way I look at it is, yeah, you're right. There might be a good ceiling for Nico. The challenge there that I see is that Nico is also
Yeah.
probably playing at a higher level than we would expect. And so you would
Right.
expect there to be some sort of regression to the norm, right? And that doesn't mean that he's going to be a bad keeper by any means. It just means that I think he was playing above his ability for a while, and I think that Kansas City game might have been a good reaction to that. Say, hey, you know what?
Of
He needed a game. We expected something like this to happen. You
course.
can't be playing at the highest clip at all time, and then and just constantly be doing that, right? And so my guess is that in the long term, our if I'm putting my chips down, I'm going to put them on Zach. I think he's got that ability. He's proven his capabilities across his career. I think he's been unfortunate with injuries, and if injuries to me is the biggest concern with Zach. And I think if he can stay healthy and not deal with that, then he's the person I would ride, and put my money on. But again, Nico, he could be tested and proven that he has that ability. But I would put my money on Zach for sure.
Yeah, proven. I mean, Zach, you said it. Zach's proven. You know what I mean. So we at least know what we're
Well,
getting.
and here's the other thing too to think about is even if Nico, say we finish out the season with Nico, or maybe somebody say, hey, we really want a keeper and we believe in Nico, we could make a good return on what Nico is, right? I mean, he's a league
True.
minimum salary, so no matter what we sell him for, it's going to be a very positive result. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know where he's valued at that ability, but I mean, being able to prove that in the past few games, he's going to be able to go to any club that's really looking for a quality keeper, and they might, shell out a decent chunk for it, and then which would be good.
Well, and also too, Crash. I just want to look at the bigger picture. There's still a lot of football to be played this season. You know what I mean? We still
Hmm.
have a fair bit of football to play. So you never know, man. Like with the Leagues Cup action, with the Leagues Cup coming up soon. You know what I mean? I don't. Anything can happen, my homie. Maybe Nico gets another chance, or who knows? Um, maybe Zach Steffen just steps it up, and Nico Hansen just doesn't need to be called upon until
Yeah,
the near future. I mean, but the bottom line still remains: it's good to be in a position where like you have this type of issue, and for
absolutely.
I think with this comment here from Greg, I don't think there's any doubt that Zach is the better keeper today. But with the Rapids title window probably not open in the immediate future, maybe it makes sense to sell high on Zach. So, look, man,
Mhm.
it's up for debate, honestly, that one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. Let me see. My homies just getting back into this. Let me scroll down here. One thing that I read, and I'm trying to pull it up. Do you know Vancouver had the stingiest defense? I think they only allowed, I want to say, 90 shots all MLS season.
Hmm.
coming up into that game against the Rapids. So I thought that was a pretty good performance. Let's talk a little bit about
Yeah. Well,
let, let-
when you look at it, yeah, 90 shots on they only allowed 90 shots, and we had what 16 total shots and 7 on target
seven
against
on
them. So
target.
if they had 90, that's it's close to 10% of their their entire shots of the season, which is not a bad way to to have a game.
You got my homie. Big yourself up. Yeah, no, and look, what I did want to talk about, bro, I wanted to get so let's just talk about a little bit. We talked about the defense a bit, and obviously with Zach Steffen. I want to talk about our midfield. It looked like on the match we played a 4-2-3-1, which of course is no
Mhm.
secret to what we've been doing. Kind of a revert to safe type of formation for us, and I feel like it's been a go-to formation. Double pivot this time was Ronan and Cole Bassett, my homie. Crash and anybody in the chat, I'm interested to know, my homies, thoughts on the partnership of Connor Ronan and Cole Bassett working as the double pivot. I'm I'm all for Cole Bassett playing that deeper role. We seen him play there last season a whole lot. I've said this plenty of times in past streams. Cole Bassett, for me, last season ran a lot, ran more than most of our players, touched every blade of grass almost every single game. And that didn't happen. That hasn't been happening this time, right? He's been playing
Mhm.
up in front, not inconsistent, playing in, and this time we seen him playing in the back, not in the back, but a deeper double six. What's your thought on that? Or
Mhm.
was it a double six, or how would you translate that?
Yeah, I mean, with that double pivot, I mean, it kind of depends. They were both, attacking minded, right? And so they were probably more eights than they were sixes, I guess you could say. But I think it's when you're talking about an 8 and a 6, it can be interchangeable depending on how your style plays. So probably an 8. I don't know. It's like, how do you want to look at it?
Right.
But I will say the key of it though is I think that's where Cole needs to be. I think, Armis all season has been, they brought in Atencio, they had Ollie, and they're like, these are our guys. We're gonna put, Cole in any position because he can play any position. But what is he best at? And you look back at some of the challenges we've had this year and the challenges we had last year, and it's when we didn't have Cole in the field, and we didn't have Cole in that like double pivot, with whoever it was last year, whether it was Ollie or Ronan or anybody, right? And I think that's the key that we are missing. And I think having him in that position, I think he played really well. I think it created it, you're adding more creativity across the pitch instead of just in the in the final third. And I think with Ronan as well, I mean, just watching Ronan on the ball and his passing ability and to
Mm.
accurately put the ball right at the feet of whoever he was passing to was pretty awesome to see. So those two together, whether it's the best option, I can't say I know that, but I think Cole, that's where Cole needs to be, and I think that's where Ronan needs to be, and it's going to be a battle between the four of them, with Josh and Ollie on the other side. So I would assume we're going to see that double pivot roll out again with Cole and Ronan. I think it worked out well. It's a good way to be attack minded first, and they both play. They're defensive enough to be able to be solid back there. And just like we saw, you can bring Ollie and Josh back out and still keep intensity and quality on the field, but have a bit more defensive mind. So, yeah, I think it's a good option. You might see him mix it up a little bit for minutes and time and energy and all the things with the congested schedule. But yeah, I liked what we saw with those guys for sure.
Yeah, and you made a good point, bro. How is it that Oliver Larraz and Josh Atencio can end up finding like a good balance to getting into the lineup? Because apart from that double pivot, um, that three of your boy Koo. I even asked him. I was like, "Yo, what do you prefer to go by? Like, how do we pronounce your name, or how do we go?" He said, "Just call me Koo." I'm like, "All right, Koo." So your boy Koo, you know what I mean? Your boy Koo with Djordje Mihailovic and Calvin Harris. That three up on top there, bro. What an excellent midfield that is, right? To have those two back there, and then those three
Yeah.
up a bit higher. What are your thoughts on the way we're shifting and the way we're doing the three up on top?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you can look back to when we did LA, when we played LAC the prior, and they didn't get the start, right? They were trying to do something new, and it kind of got botched by the red card at the beginning. But you noticed, we had not like our attack was even with 10 men was really challenged the first 60, 70 minutes of the game. And the moment those two came on, you saw an attack get revived. I mean, granted, we were down some goals, and it was, we were kind of scrapping, and they were, at that point, LA would kind of probably backed off a bit, but you saw it get dangerous, and then you see him come back again this next game against Vancouver, and just on fire. And I think that's the key is having that quality on the wings to help support Djordje. And, I think all of the accurate, like they were just all clicking. And I think that was the key. And it's nice to see these guys really find their kind of mojo together, because Calvin, I mean, I know he has quality. I know he's played well, and we've, last season he kind of hit a good stride. But man, since he's taken that start, he's an every game starter to me, right? I think, with Koo as well, it's hard to take him off the pitch because no one else is attacking the other team the way he's doing, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's the other side that I've noticed, with especially with Ronan out there this past game, is before you saw a lot of, we're going backwards, right? Our first instinct is to go backwards, go back, find that, reset and do those things. Where against Vancouver, everyone's first thought was forward, right? Ronan, in that midfield, he got the ball. He's not looking for that defender to pass back and reset. His first thought is get that ball forward, find that space, find Calvin, find Koo, find Djordje, and you really notice that. And I think that forward play is the other piece that we've been really missing all season. Is instead of trying to make that pass or that get the ball through, we were really trying to get it forward, right? We would only go backwards if we had no other options, which I thought was the biggest game changer of this game that we haven't seen most of the season.
I agree, my homie. Let's go to homie Jeremy. Hope you're doing well, my homie. Thank you for stopping by. My homies, if you are here, I would just like to ask if you could please like this stream. You YouTube is funny, bro. Like I watch a lot of I consume a lot of YouTube, so um it definitely helps, my homies, if you like the stream. So I appreciate that. Um I want to talk about our positional play here from this past game. Again, you could blatantly see there the 4-2-3-1. Ronan playing a bit deeper, and you see Cole Bassett. I guess let me go ahead and see where Cole Bassett was here. So you see what I'm saying? Like just deputizing all around the midfield there, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and Connor Ronan as well. I like that. One player I was very, very what I say, like I was impressed with, and I paid more attention to this game was your boy Koo. Laid off a perfect ball into Djordje. Djordje lays it off to
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Harris. We won't
Yep.
score that goal if Koo doesn't lay that ball off perfectly, bro. And I think he even like nutmegged one of the defenders to get the ball through into
Yeah.
Djordje, and just a perfect way to set it up. And it's always good when you're You know, so I mean, who would have been playing there on that side? We would have in the past had Omir. He's gone.
Yeah.
We were playing Laraz. We were sometimes playing Djordje out left there as well, maybe earlier in the season. I
And
think
even
I
Cole
think
was pushed out there.
even Cole has been pushed out there. Yeah, when we at the beginning of the season when we're doing the 4-2-3-1, Cole was definitely out there on the sides.
Yep.
Is this the best trio that we have, attacking
Oh yeah.
midfielder wise with Ku?
Mhm. On the
Let me ask you
team,
this.
absolutely.
Like and subscribe, people. There you go. There you go. My homie knows what's up. Let me ask you this, my homie, and homies in the chat as well. Did we see our best 11 on the weekend? Would you, going forward, would you be comfortable saying that that's our best 11, or was that just Armis trying to capitalize on maybe a wounded animal and attack him? Because we weren't
Yeah.
too defensively minded at all. Like we weren't that defensively minded, especially
Yeah.
without Laraz or Atencio in that deep line 8 or 6, whatever. It
Yeah,
was really
you
offensive,
know,
Crash.
it was, yeah, and I think that's the key, right? What are we looking for? What type of game are we trying to play? And I think the type of game that Armis wants to play is that attacking minded first play. It's attack. Try to get that ball forward, and so the style of play that Armis is really trying to instill. I think this is our best 11.
Yeah.
If we need to be more defensive or if we need that extra, I think that's where Ollie or Atencio are going to be what we need. But again, I think the mindset of getting goals early and quick. This is the best 11 we've got on the roster currently, and I don't think we're going to be able to shift from it. So it just maybe tactics wise you might see a shift or a change. You might see it because of tired legs or otherwise that you might see Josh come in or Ollie come in. But with Cole back healthy, I could see that with Ronan playing he had one off the post. He could have had a goal,
Yes.
on Saturday. So seeing those guys play with that attack minded first, I think there's a good chance we see that until we, maybe we're getting into a team that has a bit of attack that is a bit more dangerous. We need to have a little bit more support back. But I don't, I think they're both quality enough to play that defensive midfielder role as needed. So, yeah, I think it's a good option. And I think even at certain points of the game, we were seeing Ronan or Cole really drop back, almost like a 5 at the back at times to get things started. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see it kind of stay consistent because I think they did pretty well regardless of the attack minded.
I'm just taking a look here at these different average positions here. I don't think any one of our well, as a matter of fact, let me just check real quick. I was gonna say I don't think one of our players had a bad game, but I mean according to this, according to here, the Cole Bassett with the 6.8 was the lowest rated um, Rapids player. Yo, before we go any further, big up to Andreas Maxsø and Djordje Mihailovic for making it into the team of the week. Big up for that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was good to see. I mean, and I think that's the one thing that kills me is that even though our results haven't always warranted like the best score, or the points that we deserve, we've had our guys on the team in the match day quite frequently, and I forget what the number was. I know it's been a bit of a lull lately, but it's been pretty consistent seeing whether it's Djordje,
Yep.
Hoffa, Neek, Stefan, or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So it was exciting to see Maxsø make it. I think the other side of it too is, and I even I got lucky and was able to see Coach or Chris Sharpie and in the meet the team on Sunday in the locker room, and I gave him a big props to finally getting that corner in because I know that they've been pressing. So finally getting a goal off of corner kick, and I think they changed up their set pieces, which I was really excited to see.
Yeah.
Some short corner play, which I thought was really good. So Maxsø deserved it, definitely, getting that goal, even though it was a bit of a botched, a botched goalie, handling at the end there, but it was good to see it go in.
Crash, am I mistaken, or did we have two set piece goals on the night? Wasn't one of them one of those short corners? Not a direct corner, but it was one of those played off the short corners and then sent in by Connor Ronan to Djordje to Hoffa, wasn't it?
No, I don't. It wasn't a corner. I forget the Hoffa Djordje goal. It was Calvin Harris pushed it forward to Djordje, and Djordje was able to cross it in and get it right at the foot of Hoffa. That was the second goal. But we only had the one. We had a couple close calls though. There was Hoffa did have a header off of a set piece that got blocked, like point blank. So it was a good save by the keeper.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was another, I think it was a set piece where at the very end where Calvin had that like bicycle kick that got stopped right in the goal line as well. So, I mean, 3 solid, good stopping by the defense or the goalkeeper to keep it out in the set pieces, which was a good sign for us, saying that we're starting to click on those, which was great.
What happened here? It kicked me out of that map. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, for some reason, because I noticed how we were doing those that short corner game or whatever. It's different, bro. I'm not much of like coaching. I wouldn't be the tell you what to do on a set piece, bro. For me, I know how to coach on FIFA, homie, and that's send it in the box and hope you make it in, bro.
Yeah. I think I was actually the one of the short corners where you had Cole and I think Calvin, it was on the west side of the field in the first half, but Djordje was able, kind of faked it. Nobody really knew what was going to happen, and then he was able to short it, get a short corner or pass into Cole, and then Cole just put it right into the best spot, and it was one of those, I didn't expect it, but I was like, dang, that was actually a really good opportunity. And so it was good to see them change things up because, I mean, I agree, just popping it right in the box and hoping for the best is one way, but it's good to see that they're really trying to change it up and try to get some of those. Cause that's, if we can get some set piece goals on a regular clip, it's, you're going to see this team shift, the mentality pretty easily where we're not just dangerous on this or that, or, getting lucky on a pen or whatever that might be. We're going to be more well-rounded on the attack in all areas, which would be what we need.
Wow, bro, I'm willing to say if we were to throw in, if you just go back from now to the start of the season, if you were to throw in 3 set piece goals anywhere throughout there, we'd probably have 6 more points. You know what I mean? Just with 3 set piece goals scattered anywhere throughout there, bro, we're talking about 6 more points. Yep. You know what I mean? Because it's not like, and I think on my vlog, I don't know if I mentioned it, but like our home form, it's not bad, but we're also like not good, and it's like slim margins, bro, that are dropping the 2 points against KC or keeping the 2 points and walking away with all 3. You know what I mean? So imagine one more set piece right there, bro, and we're talking about a different. You know what I mean? So yeah, bro.
6 more points. We're in 4th.
There you go. You know what, bro? I just had a deja vu moment like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, bro. We're talking about if the Rapids, 2 more points, we're in 2nd place, baby. So look at us still, man.
I mean, that's the key. I think, granted. Okay. So the frustration part of it is that, we're 6 points. We would be in 4th. We are, anywhere from 1 to 3 game differential between the other teams. So it just depends on the situation, who it is and where it's at. So there's still a lot of games to be played. But if we can start doing what we need to do, which is get results like we did on Saturday, there's a good chance for us to stay in that top 5, top 4. It really depends. I mean, the benefit is the rest of the teams are kind of regressing to their norm, I think, as well. You're starting to see, Vancouver's run of forms dropping. The Sounders have had let's see, the Sounders, who are playing on Wednesday, they've got a win, a draw. They've got 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses in the past 5 games. So you're getting some everybody, Portland Timbers, the same thing, right? And so you're getting all these different teams that are really having very consistent levels of form in the top 10. And so that means it's just wide open. Like wide open.
All the way down to I would say all the way down to, I mean, we're 6 points above Sporting KC, who are in 12th. I mean, yeah, bro. And that's, I mean, 8 points from 13th. Yeah. So just to touch on to what the homie Dylan was saying, it's insane. It's insane how tight this division is. It is insane. New kid talk. I don't know if you say it, Crash, but the hat and scarf and beanie were in the locker room for the team party. Yo, before we go on to the kit, let's talk a little bit about the meet the team party, bro. I just want to say big up to the Rapids. That's a fun time, bro, and I think it's a dope thing that they do. Last season, I got the invite from the homie, and this season, how we are season ticket holders, like, it was a dope thing to go do. I got the Djordje Mihailovic jersey signed. I was excited to do that. That was like the biggest thing that I wanted to do that day. I had a couple of little cards. What are they called? Like the Tops packs and stuff like that, cards that I wanted to get signed. So I got those out the way. But my neighbor upstairs walks the dog all the time, bro. And she always has a Rapids jersey on every once in a while. So I was able to get the whole team to sign her the jersey and take that for her. So I want to say big up the Rapids. I enjoy that part of the Rapids, how I mean, at the end of the day, they are a professional team, but they're not like this huge Premier League team. You know what I mean? They're not like the biggest they're not even the biggest MLS team. And they stay humble and they know that. You know what I mean? So Armis, whenever he gets an opportunity, he definitely comes to the fans and says, "What's up?" The players, when they get the opportunity, granted, they're not going to want to come and shake our hands after they just dropped the points at home. But whenever it calls for it, like, they're definitely there, my homie. They're definitely there.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think, like you're saying, one of my favorite things, and I even mentioned this to one of a friend of mine who we kind of share our row with their season tickets as well, is that, my favorite part about that event is that, although we're not a big club, that small club is we're all these players are accessible, right? I was just looking at pictures. Right, we were I mentioned to you before, we were in the locker room for the tour at the end, and all the players were coming back, and I'll kind of show you my picture. But that's like Kamani right there. If you can kind of see the new kit jersey or the new kit shirt and the new, I think. But those guys were giving, like, there's this Alex Harris giving high five to my son, right? And they're all accessible. I saw Chris Sharp in there and gave him, said congrats on getting the corner, and he was really appreciative. And we kind of I gave him a slap on the back while he was kind of walking to get something from the fridge. Even after the loss against Orlando, I had tickets for my work event in the North Boundary, and Chris came up at the end of the game, and I said, I just, trying to be positive and say, hey, I know it's tough, just keep pushing. And he sat there and talked to me, for a good 2 minutes, just like saying, yeah, we just need to get that first goal, or we just, and just had these good conversations. My, a friend of mine we share seats with, she took her son for his birthday with some buddies and talked to Armis after the game on Saturday. Right. And I love that we have a team that is accessible. Right. I know and I mentioned this to my friend where, I was like, hey, if we were LAFC, this wouldn't happen. Like you wouldn't get to talk to these guys.
Yeah.
There'd be, tons of people all over the place. You wouldn't be able to get into it. The lines would be crazy. People would be fighting for this and that. Meet the team party on Saturday or on Sunday was awesome. I mean, the vibes were at a high because of the win on Saturday.
Yeah.
So much fun. I hit every table. I met every player. They were all like, my son is 4, and Cole took without me even saying anything, took time to like talk to him. My son was shy and not knowing what's going on, and but giving people high fives. They were all so cool. I was able to talk to Keegan, about, saying congrats on the baby and how's it going. I had my kids with me, and he's like, yeah, it's 7 weeks, tomorrow or something like that. And so it was just like, it was cool to have that interaction with the team. So I was really, really impressed with what the club did. I know we kind of, maybe critique the club quite often when it comes to
Absolutely.
certain things, which is what supporters are supposed to do.
Absolutely.
But they do put on a good product from time to time, and this definitely was one of them.
Absolutely, bro. I was all smiles that whole day, bro. Honestly,
Me too. Yep.
it was. I mean, yeah, and then it ran into the homie Crash while I was there as well too. So yeah, dude, it's just and like you said, bro. After the victory, that was the only way to go into this event. You know what I mean? It would have definitely been a bummer. I think even was it last year? Did we had just win the Rocky Mountain Cup, or did they have this event or something like that? Or
Oh, they might have
um,
been. Yeah, I think we might have won the cup right before this. I forget. I didn't have
yeah.
season tickets last year, so I forget when it was, but I'm pretty sure you're right. They had that right after.
So I mean, both the times that I've went, bro, it's just been fucking fun times, bro. And yeah, so we'll see, man. We'll see. The one thing I will say for the future is watch this space, my homies, because we are going to be doing a lot more covering the rapids in the future, my homies. And they all had sunglasses on because it was a long night. To be fair, it was a hot day too, Crash. Like
Yeah, it
they
was
were
rough.
in the
Yeah.
shade. I feel bad for the few players that were in the sun down on the pitch with the players, but fair play to them. It was a scorcher, my homie.
Yeah, it was pretty
But
warm.
yeah, bro, food, ice cream, beer, if that's your twist. I mean, they had it all, bro. Like it was a well organized event. Um,
Yep.
Now, something that was a theme of that event was, of course, the green. And for those of you, before Crash and I went before we went live, I said, bro, you better not be wearing one of those hats that the player gave you, because I'll be jealous, bro. Um, it looked very similar. And the homie Greg, if he's still in here, he'll vouch. Like we've kind of been like going back and forth, how we feel about the green. Uh, how is it that they're going to present the jersey with the green? You know what I mean? Like, because it's a dope color
Mhm.
scheme. The gold with a little bit of blue, the white, and then the green. It's a dope color scheme. But when you present it on a product, will you nail it? You know what I mean? That's the hard part.
Yep.
Thoughts, hopes, anticipation, anything, ideas that you want to talk about the green kit, and those of you that are in the comments as well, man. If any
Yeah.
opinions, thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm wearing the throwback hat today in honor of the kit release on Wednesday. I haven't seen it. I don't have the knowledge. I am not part of the media. I am just kicking it with you on here. But those friends of ours who are in it, I think, have received their box, and from my understanding, it is a fire kit. And so I think it's something we're going to be impressed with. I was impressed with the hats and the shirts that they had for the team on Sunday. I did when I trust me. For those who were there and were able to see the locker room, I was poking my head in that locker room looking to see if maybe it was hanging in the corner and was kind of sticking out somewhere if I could get a free shot of it, but I did not see it anywhere. But for those that I've heard, it does look really good. My impression is I'm kind of really pissed that it's going to be awesome because I have to spend more money on a new kit. Um, but for those who can make it out to I think they have the pop up at Dale's Bar on Wednesday. If I remember correctly, they will be pressing names and numbers on them for those who attend that. So if you want to get a new kit, I'm excited to see it on Wednesday. I'm guessing Wednesday morning. But they might be taking my money on Wednesday with, and I don't know if I'm getting a name on it or not. Hoffa signed my Headwaters kit on Sunday, and I can't have two Hoffa jerseys. I can't say, so we'll see what happens. come Wednesday, but I have a feeling I'm
Nice.
going to be
Get
walking away
in.
with a lighter
Get
wallet.
in. Look, I'm a fan of the whole idea. I'm a fan of going retro. I'm a fan of, like I said, kind of like paying homage. This year, we're doing the retirement of Marcelo Balboa's number. So when I
Mm.
think of Marcelo Balboa, I think of that retro Rapids. Yes. So I think it's always retro's always dope. But like I said, you need to nail it, bro. You need to nail it. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I'm personally not the biggest fan of the circle badge, the circle
Mhm.
logo. We kind of joke around and say it looks like, like when you create your career, or like you create a team in FIFA, like you get the default badges. Like it
Yeah.
looks like a default badge. So
Yeah.
you just think that like that when the possibilities are endless, why limit yourself? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but look, my homie, that's just me looking to nitpick. Um, I'm also probably one of
Yeah.
those people that, like, if it is a dope enough kit, I will definitely have to get one, my homie. No
Mhm.
name, no name. I don't even do that with my Tottenham kits unless they are like a retro or a throwback, which I
Mhm.
did. Oh, real quick, I got a picture with Reggie Cannon, who I have it under strong belief is the only Tottenham Hotspur fan in the Rapids locker room. That's my first question that I ask all the Rapids player when I meet them. Like, who's your Premier League team? Who's your Premier League team? Who's your Premier League team? Tons of Gooners. I know that one for a fact. But Reggie Cannon's the only Euro that I was able to meet. I actually gave him a Colorado Spurs jersey. He was excited to receive it, bro. So that was a good touch.
That's
I'm
cool.
happy that I was able to do that. Yeah, yeah. Got to take a picture with him. Definitely. So they had an event a while back, and he said that Gareth Bale was one of his like biggest influences coming up. Well, he plays on the left side as
Mhm.
well too, Reggie Cannon
Yeah.
sometimes. So um, yeah, I had to do that. Had to do that. Let's see here, my homie. Crash. Let's talk. Before we wrap up, bro. Let's finish off with what we were talking about the game. Let me just pull this back up, bro. Just to wrap up about the game, the Rapids took, of course, the more shots, 7-2 of them, which I guess we showcased our efficiency because at the end of the day, we put more in the back of the onion sack. With that
Mhm.
being said, we allowed more possession and more corners, yet we defended effectively to secure another clean sheet, and especially for
Mhm.
Zach Steffen, because, of course, the defense and the goalkeeper were sharp. Let's see here. Contextual takeaways. Vancouver has been solid defensively. We touched on this earlier. They allowed the fewest shots per game all season, but the Rapids were not having that. Heading into this match, the Rapids averaged 2.46 xG at home versus Vancouver's 0.59 xG on the road. So a huge discrepancy there. I'm glad it's for our favor.
Mhm.
Um, if there's any stat gurus in here, you guys would like that. Me, I'm still barely learning how to interpret this stuff. Um,
Yeah.
any
Well, I think there's one big stat that kind of popped out to me that I was looking at some of the stuff as well, and Ku has the most shots on target per match for any of the Rapids.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised.
1.5. And I think that's showing you that and I think Harris is getting out there as well. I'm not sure what the numbers are for him, but the fact that Ku is really becoming one of our effective shot creators. He's not necessarily getting the goals, but he's trying to get it on net. So I think for him, it's just about a matter of time before he really starts opening up his opportunity, and getting some of those goals on a regular clip as well.
Well, Crash, and that's a good point. His attempts on the goal have not been recently. He's been trying since he's been getting his minutes, bro. Right?
Oh yeah.
He's stepped onto the pitch and he's literally When we've had downer days, he's definitely been one of the sparks. If I'm honest with you, bro. And
Absolutely.
one thing too, I actually told Ronan as well was, "Yo, unlucky hitting the post." I said, "Shoot, just keep shooting, bro. Just shoot," because
Mhm.
Ronan's got technique on him, and it's only a matter of time until we're screaming in the South Bank, from one of these screamers from
Oh, yeah.
Ronan. Um, He's got the technique. Larraz has that technique. We've seen it last season. One touch, beautiful
Mhm.
finishes from outside of the box. You know what I mean? So I'm eager to see
Yeah.
something like that. The homie Dylan says, "I'm just happy the Rapids are scoring goals." Dude, I'll see that, and I'll even add, we could be scoring a lot more goals this season. We've just not been as clinical in front of the net. Crash. We have not been
Yeah.
as clinical. This game, we took advantage of our opportunities, and we missed a penalty. Right, missed a penalty
Mhm.
against KC, which I think probably that's why Hoffa stepped in and took this one. Chat
Mhm.
and Crash, I need to get your opinion on this. What the hell is that little stutter step? Hoffa needs to lose it, bro.
That's my thought
Thoughts
too.
on that?
I get it. I get the intent of it, right? It's they're trying to force the goalie to make a decision one way or the other. But as you saw, he stood strong, and
He's
it
good.
was a game of chicken, right? And the problem with that is that the penalty kick taker, it has to keep his momentum forward. So that stutter step is always going to be a hindrance in that moment. Where for me, if I'm taking the penalty kick, I'm just going to step up, blast it the most accurate shot I can into the net. I'm going to pick my side, pick my corner. Ideally, it's going to be in the top corner, right? Because it's going to be the hardest to defend and keep out of the net. But if
Yeah.
anything, I'm going to be picking a side and putting it in. And for me, that quick take, blasting it, the goalies is going to have to guess 50-50 right or wrong, and then it's up to that. I think the stutter gives too much time, and you don't have the ability to put a solid shot on the ball and get it in the net, which we saw. I mean, he guessed the right way and stopped it. If he guessed the other way, it would have been a different story. But I still would feel the
Absolutely.
same about the take.
You're right. At the end of the day, a penalty, a penalty. It's the good old Mexican standoff. It's me versus him. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, I agree that stutter step, you're definitely losing the momentum. I think if you're stutter stepping, you still don't even know where you're going, and if that's the case, you shouldn't be stepping up to taking that penalty kick. I think a player like
yeah,
Djordje knows
yeah.
where he's taking the penalty kick. Last time it got blocked, or he hit the post. Didn't he hit the post?
He hit the post.
He
Yeah,
hit the
he hit the
post.
post
He
against.
hit the post
Yeah,
against Sporting KC. So I mean,
mhm,
but
right.
I mean, I don't know. To go full circle with this show, he lost the arm. He didn't lose the armband. He was not wearing the armband. Georgie was not wearing
Mhm.
the armband on the day. Was not taking the penalty kick. I even want to say he didn't take the first couple of corner kicks as well. I want to say Ronan took some of those corner kicks too.
No, he
So
took them. I think he took them all.
no, he did, but no, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Ronan. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Ronan, because that was even, we were like, whoa, that might have been last game too. I could be wrong. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
Crash, but um, so I mean, maybe something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just woke up and had the shits, man. We never know, bro. We
You
never
know, I
know.
don't I don't I think we probably put a lot into it. I think Hoffa and Georgie are both capable of doing it. And
Absolutely,
as we kind of saw last season, Hoffa took them all, and then they kind of guessed. And I think that was evident here as well. He took the stutter, and he's most likely going to go to the goalkeeper's left, and that's the most of his shots, and that's where he went. And so I think it was just a matter of getting found out. I think Georgie could take these all day long, and we're still going to be better off because he's the more quality. But again, people are hit street. They have their ups and their downs, right? And so I think it's a matter of
absolutely.
just riding the wave when you need to ride it, and get off when you need to get off. And I think they're just changing some things up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it shift around. But I think it's Georgie or Hoffa taking these from here on out. You might see Cole bounce in, maybe, but I don't think all three of them are capable, and I think your chances are as good with all three.
Peter, big up to you. Nice to see you here, my man. Says so he did take one, but it was because obviously Djordje was hurt up top.
Yeah.
So I think it was just to give him a break. I thought I seen it. I didn't know if it was this game or last game. But like you said, I mean, we do know those are our penalty takers. For me, it's Djordje Mihailovic all day, but
Yeah.
I think that's who's taking the next one if you ask me. Crash earlier.
Djordje. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Earlier on in the show, I did put out a poll on the YouTube stream. Best captain, 56% went with Djordje Mihailovic, and then Maxsø and Keegan split the rest. So there we go. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Djordje Mihailovic is probably our best player, and probably
Oh
one
yeah.
of the guys that has the plays with the most heart. Again,
Oh
coach
yeah.
said his pre-match speeches are some of the best that he's seen and heard.
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, and I'll look at it too. I mean, Djordje's by all means, the Rapids' best player that we've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, they would after the game, he has 39 goal contributions in 2 seasons, which is which is a team record. Last season, broke the contribution record for the team. There's a good chance that he can, if he keeps this same form up throughout the rest of the season, there's a good chance he could have the assist record that he's really going for. He's not too far off of that for the team. So again, Djordje's our best player, hands
Absolutely.
down. But does your best player need to be your captain? No. And I think that's the key. And I don't think that he was bad at it by any means. I just don't think that's his bag. And I think, I still think Keegan's been our best captain. I think when he's out on the field, there's a sense that's better out there. But again, Maxsø can do it too. So I'm happy with any of the three, but I think you're going to see Maxsø hold it unless Keegan's out there, and I think that'll probably be what the captaincy that we'll see for the rest of the season.
Real quick, bro. Crash, are you tight on time, bro? We got a couple more minutes.
No, I'm good, man.
Yo, Ian Murphy. I see. I mean, again, at the meet the team party, you're able to fucking ask these guys whatever you want, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're there with them. You know what I mean? Like, and I told him, like, bro, like, because Greg was right next to him, like, yo, the homie and I are gunning for you to get more minutes, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just keep working hard, bro. Ian Murphy, what is your thought on Ian Murphy? Like, is he just is he kind of just getting like the bad luck? And I want to say that kind of like tiptoeing on eggshells, because it's not necessarily bad luck. He's just, Cheeto's not been bad. Maxsø's been good. Cheeto's been good. And when we need to change up, Ian is always there. You know what I mean? I guess another one of these cases, like we were talking about Nico and Stefan earlier. Where does Ian Murphy stand in this lineup or in this squad with you, bro? What is your thoughts on that?
I think Ian's another one of that's kind of like the Nico, right? I think he was part of the deal to get with Cheeto, those guys coming over, and I don't think there's any expectation for him to really do what he was doing. He's going to be that that backup center back, but he was able to prove himself that he has the ability to play and start and do those. He's not going to get the minutes that Cheeto or Maxsø are going to have. It's just not going to happen. I think, their salaries alone are going to command them being on the field to start unless something shifts, right, where they really hit a run of form or something funky. But I think the benefit of him is he's flexible and can play really anywhere on that back line. And he's proven it, which is what we need. And I don't think there's that expectation. I don't think he ever had that expectation to get all the minutes that he had at the early part of the season. But having that ability to have somebody come in or to be that extra third center back if we do a 5 at the back or something like that, I think that's solid for him, and that's what his role is. And I'm excited. And the good thing is, if we see a Maxsø or a Cheeto injury or something along those lines, he can step right in. I think last season, with like when Bombito left, right, we had Abubakar and Edwards, right? Those, Abubakar stepped back in the starting lineup, but we all know, we love him, but we knew he was a liability to say the least. And then Edwards just, was young and didn't have the minutes, and you could see it sometimes. And so I think Ian is a much better fit to have that backup role, and I think that's what he's playing. But yeah, I think, like it says here, Maxsø might be leaving. If we're not getting that center back on an inbound transfer, then we at least have Murphy. But my concern is who's the third at that point.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, bro. You are absolutely right. And Greg says he'd like to see Ian get some minutes at left back.
Yeah.
He could definitely do it, bro. He could definitely do it.
Yeah, he can play it for sure. I just don't think he's going to get it with Sammy in. If Sam's healthy, the speed and quality on the ball is going to be much stronger with him, with Sam on the field than Ian. But if you need somebody to lock down the back line that's not getting forward, yeah, I think Ian's great there. I was really impressed with his ability to play there. He even was able to get forward at times. You're just not going to get the same quality of service into the box, which we've seen Sam do. But it's attacking minded versus defensive minded. Which one do you need to be? And I think that's the role you're going to play.
Absolutely, I agree, bro. Dylan says Rapids 2 have some amazing center backs. Should probably bring one of them up. Do you pay much attention to Rapids 2, bro?
I catch it from time to time. I think I watched a little bit of the tail end of the one Vancouver game on Sunday after the Meet the Team party. I didn't go. Mm-hmm. I think me and the kids might pop over to an R2 game, sometime throughout this season. But I'll catch them on YouTube. It's easy to find them, during the game. Something to do if there's nothing else on. But yeah, I think they've been playing well. I mean, Baudry got 2 stops in the PKs on this last one, so it was exciting to see him kind of get some retribution on not being able to step in with Zach being out, and I think he's finding some good form there. So yeah, I think R2 is a lot of fun to watch, especially if you're jonesing for some some Rapids games or maybe some wins. So yeah, it's been fun to see those guys really fight for it. It's fun.
I actually, you know what? We definitely may have to make a trip out of it and go watch the Rapids 2. Why not, bro? I am definitely up for it, bro. Definitely up for it. Let's see. Kevin Cabral. I'm making a video on Kevin Cabral. It's in the works. He wasn't at the Meet the Team party. In fact, the homie Greg and I were kind of wondering why he got duct taped out. Was duct taped out of the lineup, and so was Jackson Travis. We kind of thought maybe we're kind of going out on a limb and saying maybe he took some time off because he got the suspension and probably just went home or something.
There you go. For all those who weren't there, that was the duct tapes cover. Travis was suspended, but he played on R2 on Sunday. So for that, any of the R2 guys, so Ollie, Adam Baudry, Jackson, they all played R2, and I think that's why you saw them removed. We were all thinking the same thing. Oh, maybe Capral's going to be playing R2 to get some minutes. He didn't make the match day squad on Saturday. He didn't make the team party on Sunday. He was scratched out, and he didn't play on R2 on Sunday. So my thought is maybe he's not going to be on this team much longer. And I did see a radar symbol by our friend Matt Pollard with Burgundy Wave on Twitter today, advertising a bit of a news coming in. So maybe we're going to see a Cabral exit soon.
I mean, bro, we could definitely free up a lot of money, right? Let's not beat around the bush. And
oh yeah,
now that I put it out there that I'm making this video, I'm doing it like it's not to bash It's not to bash, Crash. It's to not be ignorant and not be fucking fooled. This guy,
Yeah.
I mean, especially after the report came out that this guy is raking in the most amount of money, which we already knew. We already knew he comes with a hefty price tag, which is why he got the most of the runs out throughout the whole season so far. Bro, I'm gonna put this in a personal term. If I go to work and I'm picking up this guy's slack, but yet he's making more than I am, I'm gonna have an issue with that,
I'm
bro.
pissed. Yep. I agree.
Especially
I
like
agree.
especially like there's only okay, you're a right winger, a left winger. There's only two positions out of the 11 that you could possibly have, and yet you're picking him over me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I do.
so there's
So
where there's smoke in this case, there's a fucking bonfire, my homie.
yeah, I agree. And so here's my take. So I think the one thing that changed on Saturday, right? Cabral wasn't in the lineup. He wasn't there in the meet the team party. And I don't know what's going on. I have no insider knowledge.
Right.
Nobody's talked to me. So this is all speculation and my, supporter fandom take here. But I agree with you. I think I made this take a while back, and I've said it to some of the group chats and supporters chats and whatnot. Is if I was on the team, I'd be pissed. I mean, I'm not making $2 million a year to not play, right? If I'm Djordje, I'm pissed, right? You're a DP, best player, the one who's making everything happen, and Cabral's on not even getting minutes, and getting paid more than me, right? Granted, we're paying half a salary, but still, right? So it's a mentality thing, right? It's not that it's like I feel I'm angry at him for that salary, but it's that inherent frustration you're going to feel knowing that somebody is not performing to the standard that they should be and making ton more, right? No matter what business you're in, no matter what your job is, we all have those people that we know that make more than us that do shit work.
It's life.
And
It's life.
it's
Yeah.
terrible for a team mentality.
No.
So I think this might be the fat that they're trimming, and maybe he's gone. And that's why you saw some of this mentality shift that everybody's let's fucking go, right? That I'm not saying he's a bad person. I think he's a great person, great player. And he just, he's not cutting it. And that happens in football. But here's the deal. You got to get rid of that, because that is a toxic piece of the pie that's going to just ruin a team. And I think maybe they got rid of it. Maybe that's why we're seeing a shift.
Absolutely, bro. You especially with that price tag, you would only hope and wish that like I'll put this out there because it happened in at a public event. You know what I mean? Like when the Rapids had a party at the beginning, they opened up the floor to us to ask questions, and I asked Kevin Cabral flat out. I'm like, "Yo, like you're coming back off of your injury. How confident are you?" And he was just what was like an elbow injury. I think he fractured
He
his
broke
elbow
his
or something like that.
it was a compound fracture in his arm. It was a
Yes.
pretty gnarly
So,
injury on his arm for sure.
but is that like a form hindering like after your
Oh no, yeah. I mean,
right?
it was a gnarly injury, but it shouldn't affect your ability to play the game by any means. Your arm is kind
Your
of
arm.
useless.
Exactly right.
We don't want to use our arms.
If you touch the ball with your arm, you're in the foul, right? So,
Yeah.
and I asked him like, how confident are you that like you're gonna hit the ground running and like you're gonna get back to form? And he said that he was very confident. He said, bro, and this I've only said this to a couple of people. He told me flat out he expected 20 GA. However that is, 20 goal contributions, goal assist contributions. My homie, we're falling way behind that mark.
We
Way
don't have a
behind
shot
that
on
mark.
target.
0 goals, 0 assists all season, bro. Crazy. Not even a goal on target. Not even a shot on target.
Let's see. He's had. Let me look. I'm looking at the stats here if I can find it. He has 13 total shots. Oh wait, no, he does have a couple on target. Hold on. He has 3.
if you translate that to your salary, bro, those are expensive shots on target, bro. Expensive shots on target, bro. Yeah, expensive. So
Yeah. He's
yeah, well,
got
I just
1 point. He's got 1.22 expected goals. So
well, I did
there you
just
go.
want to put I did want to put that teaser out there. I will be doing a Kevin Cabral. So I know I know the homies don't watch the Tottenham stuff. Maybe some of you guys do. I don't know, but I've introduced different way of making my videos when I present my Tottenham videos. I want to do like that type of presented video, and my first stab at it is going to be the Kevin Cabral video. So. But look, Crash, we have been going for a little bit longer than we normally do, my homie. I appreciate you as always. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything that you want to say? Anything doesn't even have to be PIDS related, my homie.
No, I don't have anything to plug. Again, I'm here just to have a good time and talk PIDs. I will say, I'm excited for the game on Wednesday against Seattle. I think we have a good opportunity if we pull this form. Let's get another 3 points. Let's keep this train rolling. I want us to be able to go into that game in Philly in a week or so and just really show up and show the league that we are worth talking about. I think I tweeted about it the other day or yesterday when I was watching MLS wrap up, and they showed the highlights of the game. They showed the 3 goals, and the entire time they were commentating about the game. They said they talked about the Rapids 0. They didn't even say the Colorado Rapids during it. They was always about Vancouver and the fact that they weren't in form and they were dropping points and blah 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 blah. And I think that's my biggest frustration right now is that the PIDs are not part of that conversation. They're not getting, when they do things well, they're talking about the other team and they did terrible. And so I think, I would love for the PIDs to be in that conversation and be like, they're knocking off teams at the top of the table. Let's fucking go. Right. And let's Leonard Leagues Cup and make the Rapids a team worth some respect. Yeah, put some respect on it. Exactly. That's what I want to see.
I'm excited for Leagues Cup, my homie. I'm definitely excited for Leagues Cup. Different type of opponents. But before we get there, is the Leagues Cup match against Santos the next match at Dick's? I think it is, right?
I think so. Yeah. If that's our first one, I forget which one it is. Because we do.
Yeah.
We
Santos
do
and then Tijuana.
Tijuana.
Santos, yeah, Santos and then Tijuana. Yeah. Oh
Perfect.
man. Well, my homies, I guess that's a perfect way to end off this live stream. I'm just going to ask one more time if you're still here. If you haven't, please like the stream. It's definitely going to help to get this shared off to more, not only Rapids fans, but hopefully some MLS fans as well. How dope would it be to get some rival fans in here chatting shit with us as well? You know what I mean, my homie? So,
Yep.
Crash, I appreciate you always, my homie, and everybody who's watching this either live or on playback. It's up the fucking PIDs. Let's go, my homies.
Up the PIDs, fellas.
Cheers.